Hey guys, Invidel 1258 here. I want to do a video today talking about silver and stacking and what should be a goal for how much silver you should have. First of all, if you're watching this, I'm on a journey to 1,000 ounces. That's a long-term goal of mine. I'm dollar cost averaging my way there, buying silver rounds and bars monthly with an allowance I set aside specifically for that. But why 1,000 ounces? And if you're interested in stacking silver, what is a logical amount to aim for? And what are the considerations around that? Well, first of all, it really depends. I think firstly you have to, there's a separate conversation that I don't want to have here, but you have to first ask what you are concerned about and why you're stacking in the first place. Are you worried about financial crisis? That's what I am. I'm worried about financial crisis. And so if the US dollar fails as I expect it to because of debt and quantitative easing and credit crisis and banks going bankrupt, all of that I consider a very real possibility. And then I see US dollar being a linchpin of the global economy, causing the global economy to fail, means that you're going to see everything from an inability to buy a home on mortgage because banks won't lend you money, to massively higher interest rates and fiat currency that's worth nothing because of hyperinflation. So on the basis of those concerns, I stack silver because silver has proven itself over thousands of years to be a preservation or a storage of wealth. And I think it will prove itself that again. But why 1,000 ounces? Well, you've got to, I guess, ask the question, what would be your interest and what is your measure of wealth? Because what is your plan gets decided based upon what is your measure of wealth and what are your interests. I, for one, would love to own property, real arable land, and that's a goal of mine. And so financially, I'm looking at storing aside enough wealth in the form of real physical tangible wealth like silver ounces and gold ounces so that I could do that. And then when you start to framework your view or your goal around something like land, arable land, you can begin to have a conversation about how much is necessary. I also want to acquire gold, and right now I have none. And I want to acquire gold through trading my silver when it goes up in value comparative to gold. And so again, you build a framework around your what you imagine, what you can place wealth in, what you imagine is worth investing in. Like I just said, arable land is one example. Gold is another example. Dow Jones stocks is a third example. I know if you follow my content here on YouTube or on steemit.com, find me there at Invidel 1258, then you know I'm a big stock bear, but that doesn't mean I'll always be a bear. I'm just a bear right now because the market's been in a 10-year bull cycle and it needs to fall. So you can look at Dow Jones, you can look at gold, you can look at real estate, and you can put silver in a ratio with any of these asset classes and see how much silver you need to acquire the other. And that is a basis, a framework for how you can value the silver you stack. And then you can begin to plan around what your goals would be based upon those ratios. So here's what that looks like. Right now, gold to silver, you need 85 or 86 ounces of silver to get 1 gold ounce. If you want to get gold, then you should be worrying about that ratio, because 85 it's like all-time highs right now. Silver to gold ratio has almost never been this high before, and a more normative state would be closer to 30 or maybe 40 ounces per 1 gold ounce. And there are outlier examples of 15 ounces of silver will get you 1 gold ounce. And so that's happened a couple times in history. And I think because we're overextended on the gold to silver ratio in the favor of gold right now, the pendulum will swing and we will move toward silver being more valued, not more highly valued than gold, but in a ratio perspective, it'll be much more favorable. So you're looking at right now 85 silver ounces for 1 gold ounce. I am expecting silver to reach a sub 20-to-1 ratio. So 20 ounces of silver will get you 1 ounce of gold. That swing in the pendulum of value will make me, a silver stacker, able to acquire gold at discount relative to my investment in silver. And I take the same thinking and I apply it to real estate. Historically, you could see that if you track at how U.S. house prices to gold ratio, you can see that right now it's, I think my data goes up to 2017. It's around 280 ounces of gold for the average house in America. But historically, it's been much lower. There had, in the 1980s, it was around 100 ounces of gold per average U.S. house. And so, again, you can imagine gold swinging toward, I'm imagining real estate dropping dramatically because mortgages are not available because banks are suffering, and therefore houses are purchased on the basis of cash only, and that's going to wipe out most potential buyers, which hurts the market because you have more sellers than buyers. And so I think the ratio of gold to housing will be much more favorable in the future. And so you start to set these parameters for where you would sell your silver and why you would sell your silver, and it gives you a framework for how much silver you would want. So my view is to use these ratios as a metric of measuring my wealth, and then giving me an idea of how many silver ounces I'm going to want before this all unfolds. And like I said, Dow Jones is another option, because again, I'm not a perma bear on stocks, just a bear on stocks right now. Historically, gold to Dow has kind of a normative state of around 10-to-1 or 8-to-1. And so I'm thinking, if you can get into gold and then you can buy gold, Dow stocks at better than 8-to-1, then you should do that. And so that would mean, like, I guess if the gold is around $1,000, just for easy numbers, then the Dow would have to be around $8,000. And if gold is $2,000, the Dow would have to be 16. So then I would start being interested in getting in stocks. And the data shows that it has been better at times. So gold would be 1.5-to-1 on Dow at its best in like the 80s, I think. So my point is, I measure my silver wealth in terms of how it relates to other real wealth markers, and then I ask myself, how much of those real wealth markers do I want? And I envision myself trading my silver in for gold as that ratio improves in my favor, and then I imagine myself trading my gold in for real estate when that metric improves in my favor, and I imagine myself buying gold or spending gold on Dow stocks or any stocks when those metrics start moving in my favor. There's lots of other considerations about how much silver you need, but this is one of the main ones, to look at how you're measuring your wealth and then what you want to get in and setting goals around that. That's what this is about. I guess what I'm saying in short is this, that I look at my silver stack and I ask myself, what is my vision for the future? How do I plan to invest my wealth in the long run over the next 40 years? And how can I put my silver to work best through that process? And like I said through the course of this video, the best way in my mind to extract value from my investment in silver is to put it against things where it is other things that I want, which silver is currently poorly valued against, like gold. I want gold, I value gold. Silver is a great way to get into gold in my mind, long run, because of the gold to silver ratio being so poor for silver, and because of the natural tendency for things, comparative assessments like that, to return to a normal state or a normative state. And actually during that movement from high from one end of the pendulum all the way over to the other, you're going to see an overcorrection. Like I said, historically we've seen silver trade at around 15 silver ounces for 1 gold. That would be an overcorrection where silver is being too highly valued. But as a silver investor, I want to hold my silver I want to buy silver when the ratios are against it, like when no one's buying silver. And I want to sell my silver when everyone wants silver and no one wants gold. And I use that technique, I plan to use that technique to maximize my gold holdings, and then use that gold to maximize my real estate holdings. Like I mentioned earlier, as real estate moves favorably toward gold, or Dow Jones stock investments when gold is moving favorably up in value while stocks are moving favorably down. That's my plan, but when you're looking at stacking, there's just one more consideration I wanted to talk about. It also is obviously going to depend on your living standard. What's your view for your living standard? What would you be willing to accept, and what would you not be willing to do without? You know, it's something, I was looking at data today, it's 3 billion people in the world that live off of $2.50 a day, $2.50 US a day. 5 billion people live on less than $10 US a day. So, you know, if you can start preparing now, setting aside food resources, setting aside water, setting aside, you know, physical cash, dollars, because even though I think fiat is going to fail, having some cash dollars is a wise thing while the failure is unfolding, because cash won't be available. Banks won't be able to give enough dollars out, and so you'll want some liquid value, some liquid cash. If you plan to have food, and you plan to have water, and you plan to have other resources that can prep you that you can prep in advance, that will carry you through a crisis, then you don't necessarily need to rely on your silver to do that, or your silver can augment and supplement your needs rather than be your sole thing you'd lean on and rely on during a crisis. That's my vision and my view. So I stack food, I stack water, I'm trying to get sustainable preps in place where I can collect rainwater, or where I can get, you know, electricity from hand crank devices and this kind of thing. All because I really view preparation for the future crisis that I imagine coming is going to require more than just silver. So in closing, how much silver do you need to stack? It depends. It depends on who you are, what your goal is, where you value things, and what you view your investments looking at like in 40 years. I want to own real estate. I want to own arable land. I want to own stocks, because I believe even after the crisis we're going to see a new surge in stocks of some nature. And I want to be able to move from silver into gold and use my gold to move into arable land purchases as well as stock purchases, as I've outlined here. 1,000 ounces of silver is kind of my benchmark right now, but that's not the end goal. I almost certainly will reach that and then want to keep on going. And so it's a moving target, because it's like they say with preparation, you're never fully prepared for something. You just continue to become more prepared. That's my view on stacking silver, and I wonder what you guys think about what I've shared today. How many ounces of silver do you think you need to have? Are you aiming at silver at all? Do you feel gold is the better purchase or investment? What do you think? Leave the comments below, guys. Find me on steemit.com at infidel1258. Please like and subscribe. Thank you so much for your time and attention, and I hope you have an amazing day. God bless you.